Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about the new moon in Scorpio on the 13th of November 2023. I hope you're all doing really well. I wanted to come on and talk about this beautiful, beautiful new moon that we're going to be having. The messages in this video should resonate for about a month out, as this will be the entire new moon in Scorpio cycle that I'm talking about. So you guys should get a little bit of insight from the time of November 13th till about December 13th, 2023. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope that you are enjoying the build up to the calendar new year. I can't believe that it's already almost halfway through November. Comment below and let me know how fast 2023 has gone by for you. It has certainly gone by very quickly for me. If you guys are wanting to get some of the November 2023 sign-by-sign readings, those are also below on Patreon. I will put a link in the description box where you can go and check those out if you're wanting to get more insights for what this month is doing for your individual star sign. And without further ado, let's talk about the new moon in Scorpio. So we are really making, yes, for some people, very hard choices during this new moon. This is, for some people, a feeling of kind of being between a rock and a hard place because, of course, we have the Mars-Uranus opposition in Taurus and Scorpio, which I also made a video about. I'll link it below. We have that opposition, of course, building this new moon up, where we are really having a major shift in personal expression, character shifts, character defining moments, over and over again during this period of time. And this new moon in Scorpio is going to kind of like turn on a totally new part of ourselves, especially if you have anything in these signs which are activated: Scorpio, Taurus, Capricorn, the Pisces as well, Neptune and Saturn being there. We are definitely looking at meeting a part of ourselves perhaps that we haven't met before. I'm seeing people also really minimizing, and being that Mars is in Scorpio, it's really breaking away, cutting away, removing a lot of excess debris. We thought we were this, we're not. We thought we were that, we're not. But this is what we are. And there's this like light bulb that's going to go on and be like, but this is what you have. This is what you can do. This is what's actually possible right now. And also this is like a very ultimate feeling of purpose that ties to that. So for a lot of people, it's going to be like November 13th. Like it's just going to turn on this strong realization of how exactly we need to proceed and move forward during this time. And I am seeing for a lot of people very much minimizing, like minimalizing some of the more bulky aspects of their experience. The Mercury, Mars, Sun, new moon in Scorpio. These are all very small energy other than the sun, but Mercury, Mars, and moon are very, very small planetary energies. Scorpio is the smallest totem in the zodiac, but as you know, it really packs a punch, and it has that sort of archetypal rulership over poison and things that come in small packages, really being able to be wieldy and being able to have power. So that's the main thing that I'm getting about this new moon in Scorpio this year over this month period, is how can we bring to size or chisel out or refine the most quintessential aspects of our personality. That's going to be really what this new moon in Scorpio kind of enforces onto people who kind of actually want to do well, or who actually want some amount of liberation in their experience, or don't want to be, for example, tied to like, negative debts or negative relationship bonds. There's a lot of cutting happening here. I'm seeing people really par down, reduce at the highest level that we've seen so far this year. Also, I felt that this new moon in Scorpio represents an unexpected shift in the path. I feel that we had an expectation about where we wanted to be, and now this is like actually how things are coming through now. And for a lot of people, that's very unexpected with the way that Uranus is, of course, interplaying with the current axis. It's also notable that during this new moon and during all of Scorpio season, I've been talking a lot about this, we don't have any planets in fire or air. We have Chiron in Aries, but that's an asteroid. And we have a complete dominance of yin during this time, of earth and water energies in the astrology. So a lot of us are having to work differently with the water and earth element. And definitely it looks like a period of time where we have to consider like going around rather than, pushing through or being so forceful about our expectations. I feel like this is an important new moon to think about, how can I actually be more adaptable? How can I actually adapt to what's actually here rather than trying to force it to change? We have to be very careful during this time, during this new moon in Scorpio especially, about forces or forcefulness or pushiness or extremes. It's a very extreme period of time at a more macro level. And I feel that it's causing all of us to question the way that we cling on to certain ideologies as well. There's a very strong ideological shift happening during this period of time with Mercury, Mars, and the new moon in Scorpio. For some people, it's like starting to support different types of ideas. For some people, it's realizing that they can no longer support a certain type of group, coalition, or structure. And that would also be one of the main things that I'm seeing about this November 13th through December 13th new moon in Scorpio cycle, is a basically fragmenting of a previous paradigm of thoughts, ideas, and the way that people come together through thoughts and ideas. I'm seeing also that there's going to be a lot of force put on trying to generate certain ideological patterns or trying to sort of come together in new ways based on ideology from this point in time forward. So we're actually maybe seeing an evolution happen based on a previous breaking or a previous destruction of ideological pattern making. And this new moon in Scorpio and this general period of time, okay, this is, the new moon in Scorpio is only really one of the signs and symbols that represent this alongside Mercury and Mars, and then the Mars-Sun Cazimi that we're going to be having later, which I'll make a video about. Be sure to hit the subscribe button below to get notified when that comes through. It's only a sign and symbol of a greater pattern and a greater sort of I would say year to 3 year pattern cycle coming through right now, which is exactly what I was just talking about. It's the previous destruction of previous ideological personal combining, and then the creation of an entire new sort of kind of semi-replicated version of this, but it's just going to have different connecting points and different openings. So what that means at a more mundane level is we think that maybe we're stepping into new groups, or we think that we're stepping into new harmony with people, but it's actually maybe just the previous ideologies dressed up differently with different ways to connect. So we have to be very much with the X-ray vision here. We have to be very able to also see through our own personal BS, but then also higher level insecurity as well, because it's very easy to be kind of repeating certain loops without realizing it during this time. And I kind of think that this new moon in Scorpio, Mercury, Mars, Sun, Cazimi, and Scorpio coming up is really trying to break us out of loops. In the November 2023 sign by signs, which are on Patreon, I'll link that below. That was what was coming up over and over again this month, was this feeling of okay, there's this loop that feels secure, it feels familiar, but it's not necessarily positive or good. And it's really disrupting here. And I'm seeing a lot of people with these preconceived notions and also these long-running ideological habits having quite high level disruption and no longer being able to support certain notions that they've had before. So it's kind of a difficult time to be super tied to sort of larger institutional ideals or larger, it's not even that, it's more grandiose notions that maybe aren't personal to us in real life. So we're starting to get more material in the flesh. So like, does this affect me in real life? Does this issue affect who I am or what I'm doing or the air that I'm breathing or the things around me? And if it doesn't, it starts to kind of feel a little bit like, okay, what is this ideology to me if it's not like even connecting to me? So there's this kind of like connectivity crisis coming during this time, and sort of like a wake-up slap or wake-up call for some people, as well as they realize that, okay, a lot of the things that are real in my life are going by the wayside as I put a lot of my energy into like high quantum ideological concepts, which are quite detached from my real life. And that kind of, to me, sums up one of the major crises that we're going through collectively right now. But it also doesn't mean that these ideologies aren't important, and it doesn't mean that they're not real for many, many people. So there's kind of like, this philosophical question, I guess, right now about how we spend our time thinking and how we, Mercury in Scorpio, right? It's very Mars in Scorpio, Sun in Scorpio. It's like, what is the potency of my thought going to? What is the potency of my connectivity and the oomph of my sort of life force energy going to at a human connective level? And that brings me to my next point for this new moon in Scorpio, which is a little bit more of a physical concept, and that is not a time for clinging to the way that things have been forever. Okay, so there's such a big shift point coming here with the Uranus opposition, with the Mars Sun Cazimi. It's like, okay, we're really gonna go for something a little bit different. We're gonna be using our energy a little bit differently. I'm seeing people who have been kind of like isolated or pulled back starting to connect more with others, and I'm seeing people who've connected more starting to isolate a little bit more. So there's a paradigm shift happening here, and people are gonna kind of try to start dipping their toes into something new, I also feel, with this transit, as they realize that like the potency might just be lacking from some of these long-running securities. Now, we have a little bit of an issue here as well, where there's a major questioning of certain security grids and certain repetitions, certain loops, which are the basis of security, right? Having predictability, having repetition, having something that you can rely on and know for what it is kind of like the central core of security. At the same time, I'm feeling with these transits during this Scorpio season, a lot of people are wanting to turn this on its head, and a lot of people are wanting that risk factor, or they're wanting to try something new, or they're wanting to maybe rebrand or embody a different type of personal expression, but it's gonna come at the cost of a certain security. Like, it's hard to have it all, and maybe there's a dialogue to be had about like, how can there be maintenance on both sides of that equation? Like, how can a current security be upkept while at the same time kind of like getting out there or flirting with a different kind of, personal expression, a different kind of industry, a different kind of persona of self, which I feel like Scorpio season is just like begging for this year around. It's like, please, can we try a little bit of a different spin on this? Can we try to be who we actually want to be? But then there's this like late Pluto and Capricorn energy still here, where it's like, no, we really need to capitalize on these long-running securities and make a few real moves, or make a few like real updates or maintenances or investments, perhaps based on what has been tried and true for years and years and years and years. And if we just jeopardize all of that, we might not really do something really substantial. And there might be kind of a lot of like Uranian sort of erraticism without any kind of like real sizable change. But at the same time, I'm feeling at like a perception level, at again, like conscious mind, like impulse level, a lot of people kind of want that kind of Uranian story right now, or they want to kind of change the fabric of their experience, maybe at a very superficial level, to just kind of like experience a change in the story. So this is really the alchemy, or I guess like the zeitgeist of this time, where it's like, on one hand, there's a very, very strong demand for superficial changes, and also for like power plays, or even stories or dialogues, or just dynamics that feel like we're really stepping up to, the inner feeling of change that we need. But at the same time, there's a greater story, a greater generational context that deals with working with what has always worked and investing on those lines and creating these like very entrenched, that's a good word with late Pluto and Capricorn, these very entrenched kind of like foundations. So I'm going to leave it to you guys to decide how to work with that sort of polarized combination of energies that we have of Uranus and Taurus and Pluto and Capricorn, and then a very, very powerful Scorpio and Sagittarius season with Mercury, Mars, the Sun, all combined in Scorpio and then shifting really fastly into Sag. It's very polarizing from that sort of micro, edgy energy to the more macro generational side as well. But anyway, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this new moon in Scorpio video. Again, what I will say, this is a very unexpected shift in the path that we have here, and it's a very, very nice window for quintessential selfhood. Yeah, I like that. Like, for those people who can maybe have superficial changes that really expand that feeling of like, this is quintessentially mine, or like, I know who I am through this change. Like, that's probably the best way to be working with this energy and somehow honoring both sides of it. But yes, I've made a Mars-Uranus opposition video. It came out just a day or two before this one. Check that out below. Also check out this channel on Patreon. I've got all of the November 2023 forecasts over there for you guys, every sign. And there were a lot of gems of knowledge in those this month. Come check it out. And as always, your likes, comments, and subscribes are a great free way to support this channel too. Have a great transit. Much love, everyone. Bye.